What is up, everybody? J-Nell here with my UFC 236 recap video. It happened last night. I hope you saw it. It was an incredible event. And if you saw my prediction video, like I said, it's so close. I'm so unsure. Please do not use these predictions for betting purposes because I was unsure. And I was right to be unsure because I only got 1 out of 5. It's hands down one of my worst performances. I think I've only gotten 1 right once before, so horrible performance. However, it was a great night because it was a good night of fights, so let's go ahead and get into that. First up, the first pick I did not get. I chose OSP to beat Nikita Krylov, and he did not. This ended in the second round after he won the first round, but he had actually, OSP hadn't been fighting, I think it was like 6 months, over 6 months, and you could tell with the extra weight he had on. Even though he won the first round by taking down Nikita and mounting some ground and pound, he was exhausted by the end of the first round. So his cardio, I think, suffered from that break, suffered from that extra weight. And the second round, he again was going for a takedown. Nikita switched the position. He got him down, got on top, managed to get a rear naked choke. It looked like it was a neck crank, but he adjusted, eventually got the tap. So this was a great revenge win for Nikita because he lost to OSP in the past. So good win for Nikita Krylov. Who would you like to see him fight next? Next up, I lost this pick too, but I don't think I should have. I chose Alan Jouban to beat, I keep wanting to say Dwight Grant. I don't know why I can't get this kid's name. Dwight Grant, a 3-round split decision in favor of Dwight. I've watched it twice now. Okay, so the first round, I think that Grant won. He came out first. He had the more powerful strikes. He was going forward more in that first round to look like Jouban was having a hard time finding his target, finding the right angles, finding his offense, period. There wasn't much from Allen, even though he was going for some wrestling there. But I think that feeling the power of Dwight made him hesitate a bit. So I think the first round actually went to Dwight. But the next 2 rounds, even though they were lackluster, I think that Allen was pressing more. I think he was mounting more of an offense. I think he was pressing the pace more, had the positional victories with him trying to get the takedowns. So I'm not sure. I went back and saw it again. The shots that Dwight did land, especially going back the whole time, were, again, they were impactful, but not enough, I don't think, to steal both rounds. I'm not quite sure. I should have lost that pick. Either way, the audience totally booed, so I think they agree with me, but I did lose that pick of Alan Jouban versus Dwight Grant. So who do you think Dwight Grant should fight next? Now, next up, I totally lost this pick as well, but I'm not mad at Khalil Roundtree. I chose against him. I chose Eric Anders, but you know what? I was wrong. So Khalil comes back after spending a lot of time in Thailand, getting that traditional Thailand Muay Thai training from the trainers over there, and it has done wonders. His stance was different, the way he was bouncing on his toes, the no telegraph kicks, the sharpness of the kicks. He tore apart Eric Anders' lead leg by the end of the first round. The leg was already chopped up and red. I knew I lost this pick, let me just say that. Eric really couldn't even, I don't even think he landed a shot in the first round. That's how quickly and how dominant that Khalil Roundtree got started. Second round, he dropped Eric Anders 4 times. 4 times with the hands. Also tearing up the legs. Again, he looked wonderful. Surprised that Eric Anders got out of the second round. I was with the Joe Rogan and the announcer saying, well, maybe the corner of Eric Anders needs to be like, you know what, we love you, but you can't overcome this one, so maybe we're just gonna call it a day. But they did not do that. They let their fighter fight on, and he did. This kid has the heart of a lion. You know, he's newer to MMA, coming from the college football experience, so he's one to watch. And again, great toughness. He actually survived the third round, leg chopped up, couldn't mount. He actually came back to do better in the third round, actually, and mount some sort of an offense, but he lost handily by Khalil Roundtree, who looks amazing now. I think he's back on my list of ones to watch. So who should be next for Khalil Roundtree? Now, on to the only fight, co-main event, the only fight that I did get, and this was the new middleweight interim champion, Mr. Israel Adesanya. The last style bender. He did defeat Mr. Kelvin Gastelum in a 5-round war. That's going to be in the candidates for fights of the year. This was an amazing performance from both of them. So let's break this down. First round, Kelvin actually got off to the quicker start. He actually clocked Israel in the first round, knocked him down, and was the one pressing forward with the hands. He got inside of that range and was clocking Israel. Again, I think he did enough to win that first round. He just got started first. Now, the second round, Israel got loose. Israel started to find his range. He landed a spinning elbow at one point. He he really started to mount his offense. He was the one pressing forward. He was the one initiating all of the brawls, the contact in the second round. So I think the second round went to him. And the third, this is where we saw him drop Kelvin Gastelum. This is where we saw him actually start to do some damage to Kelvin Gastelum, start to get loose with Kelvin Gastelum, start to overwhelm him with offense. So the third round to me was his strongest, well, up until this point, his strongest round. Now we go to the corners. Kelvin Gastelum's corner's like, you know what? You got to go for broke. You're going to have to eat some shots. You got to get in there and get your hands on him. Make this ugly, make this not technical. And that's exactly what Kelvin did. He comes back in this fourth round and he wins this fourth round. He's pressing forward. He doesn't care if he's taking some shots. He is landing some shots. And it is a kick to the face from Kelvin that actually stuns Israel, knocks him down, and is the first real like, oh snap, this fight's gonna be over moment. He jumps on top of Israel. He's mounting some ground and pound. Israel is actually up. At one point, no, actually, that's the first one. I'm getting ahead of myself. He manages to get back up after actually Kelvin gets his first real successful takedown, but he gets back up and Kelvin's still pressing forward. This whole last like minute and a half, I'm worried for Israel Adesanya. We're like, oh snap. So now we're going into the fifth round and it is 2-2, ladies and gentlemen. So it's who wants it more here, who can get it. And it is Israel. And so decisive. He probably won this fifth. Well, he did. He won all the Judges' scorecards. You see how excited I am about this amazing fight. He won this fifth round by 2. He just took it. He was going forward. He was pressing the pace. He dropped Kelvin multiple times with his hands. At one point, he went for a guillotine. Looked like he was going to drag Kelvin down. Kelvin gets him down, but he throws up a triangle choke, almost gets the triangle choke, but then gets up after. I mean, I am going crazy at this moment. And then he starts laying on the offense, going forward. He draws blood. He's landing kicks. He's landing punches. Kelvin is literally being knocked from one end of the octagon to the other end of the octagon. Then at one point, he gets him down. He drops him. He gets on down, tries to land some ground and pound, lands some serious elbows. Cuts Kelvin all the way up. Kelvin is reeling. You can tell he's out of it, but he's moving, and Israel can't quite. There was a moment, if Israel could have landed like 4 shots in a row, the ref would have stopped this fight, but the ref let Kelvin survive, and that's all he did was survive. Again, amazing fifth round. He won it by 2. Your new interim middleweight champion, Mr. Israel Adesanya. Amazing performance, and I cannot wait to see him fight the real champ, okay? The real champ, Robert Whittaker, probably in Australia. That is going to be bananas. All right. Now, main event, and I did not get this one as well. Told you, one of my worst performances. And and I'm actually okay with this one, the new interim lightweight champion, Mr. Dustin Poirier. He beat my boy Max Blessed Holloway, who came up as a one-off from the 145-pound division to take this fight. As I said in my prediction video, this was a waste. You don't waste your featherweight champion on an interim belt because it's not a real belt. You don't want to risk damage to your champion. And as this fight went on, I was completely right in that. Let me just say. So, like I said, I thought that because Dustin had been sitting at lightweight for longer, that he would be bigger and more powerful. And oh my gosh, was he. I'm surprised Max Holloway survived this first round. Dustin immediately clocked him, knocked him silly all the way back up against the cage, and then he starts pouring on. We're talking raining down shots. I thought Max was going to be done within the first minute of this round. He survives that minute. He is sliding against the entire cage, crossing the whole octagon, staying in the pocket at some moments, and firing back at Dustin while taking shots. Almost too tough for his own good. I'm like, oh my gosh. Max finna get knocked out in this first round, but he's gonna go out like a champ. He survives this first round, people. He comes back in the second. He's overwhelming Dustin with offense in this second round, punches and bunches, outscoring him, winning this first round for about the first 3 minutes. Then Dustin with them counter shots again, with that serious power differential again. Every time he hit Max, it stopped him. Every time he hit Max, it knocked him back. So in this last minute and 30 seconds, I believe he mounted enough offense to actually steal this round from Max. So 2 rounds in, 2 rounds of Dustin. Third round, Max manages to put out enough offense to overwhelm him with offense, stay pressing forward, and not get hit by counters enough to win the third round. He does the same in the fourth round. So now, in my opinion, we're going into the fifth round 2-2. They're going back and forth. At this point, Max, his nose is most likely broken. And this round, Dustin lands a knee that glances off, but enough to slice that nose open all over his face. The eye had been getting beat up the entire fight. It is now swelling shut on Max Holloway. He is getting beat up, but he's still in there. He's still landing shots, but just the power difference. He would hit him with 2 shots. Dustin would hit him with 1 that was worth more than those 2 shots. And then Dustin, who looked like he was tired by getting overwhelmed with offense in the last 2 rounds, managed to find his like 5th win and mount another offensive. He stole the momentum back, stunned Max again, and I believe did enough to win this 5th round. So he got this belt, which I think is the right thing, seeing as how he is the true lightweight anyway. As I said in my prediction video, I felt like this should have been him against Al Iaquinta because it couldn't be Tony Ferguson. So I'm perfectly fine with Dustin getting this belt and getting the shot against the real champ, Khabib Nurmagomedov. And let me say, as I said before, I think Dustin's a bad matchup for Khabib because although we know Khabib has that wrestling, I think he might have a problem with the striker like Dustin. This is a really interesting fight, y'all, that I'm super excited to see. So this was a great event, and even though I only got 1 out of 5, I'm okay with it. So let me know how you did on your picks. Give me any injury updates, of course. And let me just say again, do you see Max's face after this? And ask yourself, was this worth your featherweight jumping up for this? I say no, it wasn't. And I think my point was proved by Max's face. Okay? This wasn't worth it. He shouldn't have jumped up for this. But I understand that he himself demanded it and wanted it. But again, there we go. So again, let me see how you did on all of your picks, any injury updates. Follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, where I really have 15-second recaps. And subscribe, like. I'm on Snapchat now. I never Snapchat, but I am on it. Subscribe, like. Talk to me, Kate. Take care. And goodbye.